Ciao, gentle viewers. Hey, it's so nice to see you again today. And I want to just jump right into gratitude and thank you so much for all your subscriptions and your comments. I love hearing from you. Last month we had a bunch of shares, so thanks for sharing our videos. We really appreciate that, and your subscriptions. Thank you, thank you. And today we're going to talk about composition. Now, I don't know about you, but I had to really work to stay awake during my composition class. Many years ago, and in fact I had to use my tongue to tickle the roof of my mouth to try to stay awake. It can be kind of boring, and some instructors are kind of boring. Well, I'm not going to teach composition today. There's a lot of different principles of composition, but in this segment and in others, I want to go over like 4 tips that will assist you in creating a really cohesive mixed media composition. And I know that the elements and the principles of composition are the same for all the visual arts. However, in mixed media, it's really easy to go astray because you have so many other things going on. So we're going to talk about that today. Okay, I know that my viewership has a wide range of you people out there. Some of you are artists, some of you are non-artists, some of you are professional artists, some of you are teachers. I know that, I'm talking to a wide group of people. So today, I wanted to just kind of go over some of the things several people have asked me to do something on composition, so that's what we're going to talk about. And the very first thing I wanted to talk about is using a strong focal image. And there's a reason why portraiture has always been so popular in art, because hey, we're people and we're pretty fascinating creatures. But there's also a reason why the face itself is an absolute perfect composition. So in case you don't recognize this, this is Leonardo's portrait or head of a girl. And I wanted to use it to show you what a perfect composition this is. The reason that your eye stays focused within is the circular motion that the head creates. And then this wonderful triangle, this illusionary triangle that is formed from the eyes down to the mouth and over. So it comes out this perfect shape. So your eye stays absolutely focused right in the center. Okay, I'm going to use one of the most world famous pieces of art, the Mona Lisa, to explain a little bit more about good composition. So we already talked about the face being a perfect triangle, a circle within, and then with the crossed hands here, Da Vinci creates this wonderful triangle effect here. So it's pointing back up to the face, down to the hands, and it keeps your eye completely engrossed and enchanted by the image. And that brings us to geometry, because all these circles and triangles and rectangles and squares, they're all about composition. So if you go to a museum and you're looking at artwork, you want to look for the focal point, for the focal image, and then you're going to look at all of the elements around it that support it to see the composition. So this is a piece of my work, and I wanted to share with you about choosing the focal image. And in this instance, I decided to choose flowers. And in this image, I used the rule of odds, which is I use 3 basic images. So the rest of this is just texture. And then these are the images here. So the basic image is the flower. Even though there isn't one central focal image, I use the rule of odds in this piece with just 3 pieces to show up that wonderful idea of a floral imagery. So I'm using examples of my work again. So you want to choose a strong focal image, and in this case I chose a bee. And even though it's a little tiny image, all of the embellishments around it support it. And I used 5 different pieces to support this tiny little bee, which really creates this it makes it stand out, gives it a wonderful center focus. In this piece, I did the same thing. I used 5 different pieces, and I embellished the centerpiece to create my own focal image within the piece. And I really like the way it came out. So rule of odds, using the rule of odds, use odd numbered embellishments around your focal image. Okay, I wanted to talk to you about viewer's eye. This is another tip that I want to share with you. And that's about looking at artwork that has been done many years ago and following those same rules. And I'm going to show you how artists do this throughout the years. This piece was created in 1915 and it was painted of Mrs. Winston Churchill and her daughter Sarah. And it's a wonderful composition because it holds your eye perfectly intact. So if this couch line had gone straight across, your eye would have fallen right off. But notice the placement of the pillows, which creates these triangles which point back into her, and the colors that are used, which creates that cohesion behind her. It's just absolutely wonderful composition. Okay, so you can look at this and then create this composition in your own work, in your own mixed media pieces. Let me show you in 1968, almost the same identical pose. And what's so fascinating about this is the color choice with that turquoise. It's just yummy. And this big pillow here that keeps your eye pointed back into the focal image here, this young woman. Her name is Fiona. And what I love about this piece is that this is the artist right here painting. So in the mirror showing him, and he's painting himself into the portrait. So I love this. This is Fiona and Self-Portrait by John Ward. So now we're going to focus on texture and color. And once you have this cohesion going on in your composition and you've chosen your focal image, then you want to consider color and texture. And this is where so many artists go wrong. So you're using all of the principles, you're paying attention to the elements of composition, but then you have a tendency to use too many colors or use too much texture. And it's something that as mixed media artists, we really have to work on. So in this is a really good example about using a really limited color palette and creating something that's got a really cohesive look to it. So there's a ton of texture going on because these are threads that are actually glued down, and ribbon and lace, and this is an old needle card. And then all of these pieces, this is an old button card here. So there's a lot of texture going on, but your eye remains focused here because the color palette is limited and the texture is limited. So that's one of the pitfalls of being a mixed media artist. And in these small pieces too, using a very limited color palette. Now, I'm going to tell you that once you get used to creating art and mixed media and working with different textures, then by all means, break all the rules you want. You know I'm not a colorist, and some of you are and you do it really well, but it's a really easy way to feel like you've really lost what you were trying to say. And you know, you want to make sure that your focal image is really speaking. I mean, your focal image is the character of your story. So you want that image to be able to tell your story loud and clear. Okay, the next time that we talk about composition, I want to talk about working on a grid and about Mondrian. And we'll talk about creating a really cohesive piece of work by working on a grid. Okay, we're almost at ciao for now, and I just wanted to go over all of the tips that we talked about. So the first one is to pick a really strong focal image and to stay true to that image because that's going to tell your story. And the second thing is to use the rule of odds. You want to make sure that you're using only odd numbers until you really get the hang of it, and then you can use as many things as you want to, and you can break all the rules. And remember to look for the viewership to see where the eye is going to go, to keep using those geometrics to keep the eye focused into your work of art. And then the last two things are using texture and color appropriately in your work so that you can really see that focal image and you have an outstanding piece of mixed media art. Okay, ciao for now, and you know what? Next time I see you, I will be in Paris, France, and hopefully I'm going to show you some some fabulous Monets. I can't wait to show them to you. We'll see if they let us film there. So, ciao, ciao.